All right, today we are taking a deep dive into a really powerful tool from Hugging Face called the SFT Trainer. Have you ever wanted to take one of those big general purpose AIs and turn it into a specialist, an expert in your world? Well, this tool makes that whole process not just possible, but you'll see it's surprisingly straightforward. So let's start with the big question, right? You've got these incredible large language models, LLMs, that are basically geniuses. They've read the entire internet, they know a little bit about everything, but how do you get one of them to understand the tiny specific details of your data, your company's unique voice, or the exact task you need it to do? You know, the best way to think about this is to imagine you've just hired the smartest person on the planet. I mean, they're brilliant, they have degrees in everything, but they have never, ever seen your internal docs. They don't know your customers, they don't know your workflow. You wouldn't just throw them into a project on day one, right? No, you train them. And that's exactly what fine-tuning is. And to do that training, well, you need the right tool for the job. That's where the SFT Trainer comes in. It's built for one specific thing, a method called Supervised Fine-Tuning, which is really the most direct path to get this done. So what even is supervised fine-tuning, or SFT? Well, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You are supervising the model's learning by just showing it examples. You give it an input, say a question, and then you show it the exact right output, the answer you want. You do that over and over with your dataset, and the model starts to learn, mimicking the style and the knowledge you're showing it. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds complicated. But honestly, the SFT Trainer makes it almost ridiculously simple. Just look at this code. Don't worry about memorizing it. Just look at how short it is. You import the trainer, you point it to a model, you give it your data, and then you just tell it to train. That's it. Let's just boil that down. Conceptually, it's really just 3 simple steps. First, you pick your model. That's your brilliant new hire. Second, you give it the training material, your data set. And third, you just kick off the training. The SFT Trainer is designed to handle all the complicated stuff in between. Okay, so that's the simple, high-level view. But for those of you who want to know what's really going on, let's pop the hood for a minute and see what the trainer is actually doing behind the scenes. It's actually pretty cool. First thing to know, the trainer is super flexible with data. It doesn't really care how your data is formatted. It automatically understands 4 main types. Whether you just have a big block of plain text or conversational logs with user and assistant roles, or even just simple prompt and answer pairs. Chances are, whatever you've got, the trainer can handle it right out of the box. And that data flexibility feeds right into the core process. So once your data is loaded, 3 main things happen. First, it gets pre-processed and formatted into a way the model can use. Second, it's tokenized, which is just a fancy way of saying all the text gets converted into numbers because that's the only language the model speaks. And finally, the most important part, loss computation. That's where the actual learning happens. So how does a model actually learn? Well, it's through this really clever process called label shifting. See, the model's only job, its entire purpose in life, is to predict the very next word in a sentence. We teach it by taking that exact same sentence, shifting it over by 1 word, and using that as the answer key. So the model makes a guess, we compare it to the right answer, and it learns from its mistake. And it does this over and over for every single word, getting a little bit smarter each time. Okay, so now we get the basics, but let's get to the really exciting part, supercharging your training. Because the SFT Trainer isn't just about being simple, it is packed with these amazing features that you can think of as like power-ups for your fine-tuning process. First up, we have PEFT, which stands for Parameter Efficient Fine-Tuning. And this is a total game changer. Instead of trying to retrain a massive model with billions of parameters, PEFT freezes the original model and just trains a tiny set of adapter layers on top of it. What does that mean for you? It means you can fine-tune absolutely huge models on a single consumer GPU. That was literally unthinkable just a couple of years ago. Next up, example packing. Okay, so imagine your data set has tons of short examples, like quick questions and answers. Training on them one by one is super inefficient because you're not using the model's full attention span. So, by setting packing equal true, the trainer intelligently crams a bunch of those short examples together into one long sequence. This makes way better use of the hardware and can dramatically speed up your training. This one is really clever. When you're training a chatbot, you want it to learn how to be a great assistant, right? You don't really care about it learning to be the user. Well, with assistant only loss equals true, you tell the trainer to only pay attention to the assistant's replies when it's learning. It just ignores the user's part of the conversation, which focuses the model's learning exactly where you need it most. And believe it or not, the power-ups don't stop there. The trainer also plugs into specialized libraries like Liger and Unsloth. We're talking about huge performance boosts, like training models twice as fast with 70% less memory. It just goes to show that as your needs get bigger and more complex, the SFT trainer is totally ready to scale with you. So we've seen how simple it is to get started and how incredibly powerful the features are, but what does all of this actually let you do? Let's talk about some of the really advanced things you can build with this one single tool. I mean, we are moving way beyond just changing a model's writing style. With the SFT trainer, you can build models that follow really complex instructions, models that can use external tools, and yeah, even models that can see. Instruction tuning is how you take that raw base model, our brilliant new hire, and turn it into a genuinely helpful conversational chatbot. You just feed it a data set of instructions and really high-quality answers, and it starts to learn the actual concept of following a user's command. This is the fundamental step for creating any kind of AI assistant. But what if your model needs to do more than just talk? Tool calling lets it actually interact with the outside world. By fine-tuning on examples where the model has to call an API, like asking a weather out for the forecast or using a calculator, it learns to recognize when a tool is needed, how to ask for it, and how to use the answer. This gives your AI real-world skills. And finally, and this is just amazing, the trainer even supports training vision language models, or VLMs. These are models that understand both text and images. And again, the trainer makes it so simple. You just give it your text prompts, and you add one extra column to your dataset that contains the images. That's it. The trainer handles all the hard work of processing both things together. So, from a simple 3-line script all the way to training models that can see and act in the world, the SFT trainer puts a truly incredible amount of power right at your fingertips. It completely lowers the barrier to entry for customizing AI. And that really just leaves one last question. Now that you have the tools, what are you going to build first?